Thank you all for being here and for wanting to listen to me. This is a huge subject that I'm very, very passionate about. I did not know how to be a self-advocate when I started my journey with heart disease. I had no clue what that even meant. And unfortunately, I had to go through some uphill battles because of that. And thankfully, now I'm able to speak on it, and I'm able to really, teach all of you how to be a good self-advocate, but also to talk to providers. And, it's a two-way street when it comes to advocacy. It's listening, it's respect, and it plays a part on both sides. So self-advocacy, simply put, it's the ability to communicate your needs. There's three key elements. Oh, how do I get rid of that? Sorry, my screen up here is showing something weird.
No, maybe from here.
Oh,
Or
sorry. One second.
I'm not a host, but I know.
You guys are okay with it, I can continue.
Hey, Denise. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, is that little video thing on your computer?
A little video thing.
There's like a little box that says this meeting is being recorded by the host or a participant.
I did that. You guys are recording. So yeah.
Can you just hit the box where it says got it?
Oh, I don't see that.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I.
We see her slideshow and it looks clear.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, I can keep going.
I have it clear here too.
Okay, we'll just keep going. All right, so like I said, there's, it's simply put, self-advocacy is just the ability to communicate your needs. There's the three key elements of self-advocacy. There's understanding, knowing, and communicating. Understanding your needs. What do I need? Who do I need? How do I need to feel? And there's a huge difference between wants and needs. I tell my 8-year-old that all the time. Do you need it or do you want it? And there's a huge difference. Knowing what kind of support might help. Who do I want in my corner? What type of provider is important to me? Do you want the provider who's chomping on gum and sarcastic and not listening, and maybe they're on their phone the whole time? Or do you want that provider that's going to go to bat for you? Communicating the needs to others. Stop saying sorry. This is a huge lesson I had to learn. Stop apologizing for my needs. Stop apologizing for all the things that I needed and wanted. I think as women, where it's just embedded in us to continuously say that we're sorry. We don't really even know what we're sorry for. We just always say sorry. Well, I wanted to stop doing that. I wanted to be very firm and allow people to really understand and take me seriously. I'm not sorry about my needs. They are valid. This is recording you guys now. Flip your screen.
Oh, it is?
Nope, turn them back. Sorry. Oh, funny. So understanding yourself and your needs. For days and days and days, when I was first diagnosed with heart failure, I literally just sat there and I'm like, okay, well, I'm a heart failure patient. Now what? What do I do now? I didn't understand a thing that I was going through. I didn't understand anything that I was about to go through either. So the first step was learning everything I could about my disease. I read articles, I stayed off of WebMD, but I read anything and everything I could about peripartum cardiomyopathy. And step one was learning how to say peripartum cardiomyopathy. But, but other than that, I wanted to learn everything that I'm about to feel and everything I'm about to go through. You know, a huge help to me was having someone there who had a transplant, who had an LVAD, who was going through the same thing as me. So my doctors actually brought her in to talk with me, and it was so wonderful to be able to have a peer to support me and even to support my family. So always ask providers, do you have somebody that has gone through this? I need to talk to somebody who's gone through this and experienced this as well. It's a huge help because no doctor can tell you what you're about to feel. And now, you know, now I'm in heart failure. This is a new role in my life. You know, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, but now I'm a heart failure patient. Right? It's a whole new role that I have to learn. You know, I needed to find out exactly what my rights were, what is going to happen next, who is this new person going to be, and what am I going to go through. You know, I needed to advocate for myself and also understand anything and everything about my illness to be able to properly advocate for myself. I need, you know, you need to sound smart sometimes to talk with these doctors. So when speaking up for yourself, you know, remember the effective of just respectful communication. It's important for this, for a successful advocacy is that respect, mutual respect. And if you don't feel like you're getting that mutual respect from your provider or anybody else in that field, you have the right to say, I don't think this relationship's working out. I don't think that we are compatible. That's okay to do that. So the start of my journey, I did not value myself much at all. I had just been told at 28 years old, I'm an end-stage heart failure, and I had a newborn, and there was no, you know, there was no understanding of what I had just gone through. I had my baby in November, and by February of, I had my baby in November 2013, and by February of 2014, I was an end-stage heart failure, getting an LVAD. It happened that quick. I had no time to find value in myself. There was none. You know, so when I had my LVAD, I was speaking with one of my fellows at the time. He is an amazing doctor, but I was in this place of woe is me. It's all me. I'm so, you know, so depressed. I'm the only one going through this. And he sat me down and he said, you know, you're not a special little snowflake. There's thousands of other women going through what you're going through. I have a waiting room full of heart failure patients that feel the same way you do. So it kind of humbled me that, yeah, my feelings are very valid, but they're not more important than anyone else's either. You know, there's a lot of other people that are going through the same thing as I am. When I'm talking to someone, I made it a point to listen very intently, listen and give grace to that person that was speaking to me. I didn't forget to ask questions because if you don't ask questions, you're not going to get answers, right? So it's important to understand the other person's point of view as well. You know, advocacy is a lot of back and forth. I kind of come from a mindset, if somebody is telling you no, you're talking to the wrong person. And so if you're talking to the person that continuously is giving you the wrong answer, the answer you don't want to hear, you have the right to be able to find that person that you are able to collaborate your care with. And believe you deserve to be treated with respect and dignity at all times. Like, I can't tell you how many OR tables and heart cath tables I've laid on. I cannot, the number is huge, how many times and how many surgeries I've had. But I was always treated with dignity. You know, there's times that you feel like your body is just being tossed around and people are touching you and making decisions for your body without even asking you if that's okay. So make sure that you speak up and you demand that you are being respected and that your body and that your space is being treated with dignity. Don't be afraid to speak up. You know, describe the problems you're facing. Be as descriptive as possible when you're going through something. You know, your provider is not going to be able to help you if you are not 100% truthful and 100% able to describe the pain, describe the uncertainty. You know, when my little girl comes and says, my tummy hurts, okay, well, that could be hundreds of different things. What does it feel like? You know, being very descriptive on what's going on with you is going to go a long way. And don't be afraid to disagree with others. You know, even if it means upsetting the peace, don't be a yes man when it comes to your own healthcare, because it's your body. I'm not going to agree to something that I don't personally feel is going to help me, or a decision that I wouldn't make on my own. You know, I'm totally open to different ideas. I'm totally open to hearing my providers' concerns, and I want to hear why they would do a certain procedure. I want to know everything about that procedure. I'm not just going to say yes. And hold everyone, including yourself, accountable. We're so used to keeping our doctors accountable. Like, you said you were going to call in that prescription 2 hours ago. You know, we're quick to keep them accountable, but we're not very quick to hold ourselves accountable for what we discussed in our appointments. You know, for example, I'll be transparent. I was told in October I needed to lose 20 pounds. I put on the COVID-19 and it started to affect my medication. It started to affect my vitals, my blood sugar, my blood pressure. And I was told I had to lose, you know, the certain amount of weight. It's not up to my husband to hold me accountable. It's not up to my parents or my friends when we go out for girls' night. It's up to me. And so, you know, come March, if I haven't lost that weight, you know, I'm going to have to explain myself on why I wasn't able to do that. Always express yourself. When I first started out in heart failure, I was over at Heart Hospital here in New Mexico, which, I mean, was amazing. They were absolutely amazing. They were the first ones to correctly diagnose me. I had gone through, in 4 weeks, I had gone through 6 different doctor visits, whether it be urgent care, emergent, my PCP, and my OBGYN. I gave birth on November 10th. And within 4 weeks, I was in, you know, complete heart failure. No one had listened to my symptoms. The first doctor that I saw was in an urgent care, and it was about a week after I gave birth. I described my symptoms, which was, I was feeling really heavy. I couldn't sleep. I was having headaches, you know, just constant, like, just breathing issues, and my chest feels tight. He diagnosed me after spending about 7 minutes with me with postpartum depression. He gave me some antidepressants and sent me on my way. I mean, the man barely knew me. He didn't read my charts. I was giving him clear signs that my heart, my health was in distress, and he diagnosed me with a mental condition. A week later, I went to another physician asking for assistance. My chest pain had gotten worse. I started to retain water in my fingers and in my toes and my feet. I couldn't lay fully back without feeling like, you know, I was gurgling in my chest. These are all signs of heart failure. I was then diagnosed with bronchitis. A week after that, same symptoms, they were just worse. I had sharp pains up my arm. I had sharp pains down my back and my chest. This time I had pneumonia. So I was given all of these different medications by several different doctors who, again, spent about 7 to 10 minutes with me. It was maybe week 5, and my husband, Nathan, made me go to the emergency room. I was dead set on not going. And he made me go. And luckily he did, because I went into cardiac arrest that night. And he would not have, at the time, I don't think he would have known what to do. And I don't think emergency would have gotten to me soon enough. So thankfully I was there. But here's the thing, even though I went into cardiac arrest in the hospital, they were still trying to tell him that it was because I had pneumonia. So they still were dead set on the wrong diagnosis because they didn't want to say maybe we made a mistake. So my husband ended up having to pay out of pocket for a full body MRI. And that's how they found out I was in heart failure. So it wasn't anything else except for my husband being the very stubborn and very loud person he is. He got me a MRI that showed that my heart was 4 times as big as it should have been. And that is when I finally made my way to the heart hospital where I should have been the whole time. You know, so expressing yourself, my husband was able to express that this is not right. My wife does not have pneumonia. You all need to figure it out. And early on, while I was in the hospital, I would not allow myself to cry in front of anybody. Yeah, my family, I would, but doctors, nurses, like I just couldn't fathom allowing myself to be expressive in that way with people I didn't even know. But later on in my journey, I really realized these people see tears and they see emotions every single day. It's part of who they are and why they're in this business. They want to help, and they want to help with that emotional status that you're, you know, whatever you're feeling. I never was one to really speak my mind, which is really shocking now because I don't shut up for anything, but I had to learn it's okay to speak and say what is on your mind. You know, from the littlest things like the cleaning agent that they would clean my room with would make me so sick, but I was dead set. I wouldn't say anything. Like I didn't want to offend them. It's my healthcare. It's my needs that weren't being met. Finally, I said something and they changed to a different cleaning agent, and it was that easy, you know. And I thought, like, dang, I've been, you know, inpatient here for 3 weeks, suffering every time they clean my room. And if I just said what I thought, it could have been fixed a lot sooner. And standing up for yourself, you know, when something doesn't feel right, you know it. That gut feeling is real. So standing up for yourself when something just doesn't feel right, when someone doesn't feel right. There's this, I mean, he's an amazing doctor. He's brilliant, but he's not my kind of person. And he just doesn't feel right in my care. And so we spoke up about it. I no longer want to see this physician. I no longer want this doctor a part of my care. And because I spoke up, I haven't seen the guy in like 5 years. You know, he's brilliant, he's amazing, but he's just not my kind of person. And I don't want him involved in my care. And that's okay. So express your frustrations, express your disagreements, express your distress, but always, always, always be kind. Nothing good came of raising your voice to your doctor. Nothing good comes from threatening your doctor or threatening your nurse or, you know, telling your surgeon, I'm going to sue you. Nothing good has ever come of that. But having a respectful conversation that is between 2 kind adults can get you much further in your care. So this is what I call the advocacy toolbox. I I learned very on that, you know, when I was in heart failure, I don't know if this is an actual term or something we just came up with, but heart failure delirium. So basically, when you're in heart failure or any real critical condition, you tend to forget what just happened 2 minutes ago. Your mind is so overran with thoughts and negativity and, oh my God, did I do this? Did I take this medication? And that's another thing, all the medications that you're on, you're going to become very forgetful. Your body's getting used to all these things going on now. So my husband and I had our notebook. And we would, the night before all my appointments, I would write down any questions I had, any concerns I was having, any reactions that I was seeing. And we would take that and we would not leave that appointment until all my questions were answered, until we solved whatever problems were in my notebook. And then during my appointment, doctors sometimes use doctor talk. And I would have to, kind of slow them down sometimes. Like, I'm a pretty smart person, but you got to dumb that down a little bit. And I would take notes. So next time when they said something about my BMI and my projection and my this and that, I would know what they were, talking about. So a notebook is key to taking to your appointments. Make sure you're writing down, taking notes, listing your concerns, and also writing your to-dos. Like, I'm 8 years out from my transplant, but I still write down my to-dos in my notebook, like my weight loss, because it helps me stay accountable. And back when I was really sick, it helped me to remember what I needed to do. And if there was any changes to my meds. Another thing that you should take to all of your appointments, a current medication list. Always. I mean, I keep a current medication list in my purse still. I think I always will. It's going to help you manage your medications. And say you're seeing a new provider. Say you have to go to the emergency room. You have to get admitted for something, urgent care, anything. What happens if, like me, I have some drug interactions with my transplant meds. If I'm in the emergency room and they give me a medication, it's going to be really bad. So always keep a medication list with you, and know any side effects that you are feeling, good and bad. Your provider can use that, okay, well, this amlodipine is doing this, so let's try whatever, or like for me, Lovenox, I had to take Lovenox shots. I had huge welts and huge bruises all over my body. And we were able to change that later on to a different blood thinner, So you don't have to live in this uncomfortable space if you don't want to. A dietary journal. This, I don't much do it now, but when I was starting all these different drugs, a lot of the heart failure medication and critical illness medication, food starts to have a really weird reaction with a lot of them. All of a sudden, gluten affects me. I have different allergies to things now. And, I'm able to now pinpoint exactly when that happened and what med I started and when that interaction started with it, So just keeping a journal of what you're eating, the times you're eating it. Are you seeing any changes? And any new medications and certain foods might not mix, like I said. So it's just good to keep that in mind and be able to look back and see if anything has changed. So with me, there became a time when I just couldn't. I was done, I was out, I couldn't do it anymore. And, there might be a time that happens to you where you just can't advocate for yourself anymore. I did it until I couldn't anymore. And my husband, of course, was advocating with me the whole time. And, and I had parents and I had an amazing support system, of course. But there came a time where I was so sick. I had just had to decline 2 hearts. You know, I was on my LVAD. I had a huge infection. I was on vancomycin. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of vancomycin, but it's a very, very strong antibiotic that just tears you to pieces. So, I mean, trying to, you know, survive, but I was also had a newborn baby. I was done. I just did not want to talk to anybody about my care anymore. I didn't care, honestly. So my husband stepped in. He became my advocate. He became my voice. He became absolutely everything. He became my caregiver. He made sure meals were being met, that I was following my med protocols, that I was doing anything and everything. But my husband should have stayed my husband. You know, looking back at that now, my husband should have been my husband. My mom and dad should have been my mom and dad. Like, how amazing would it have been if I had, you know, someone to come in and help me with this who was an impartial, right? So of course you can ask family to help you. Family should be helping you. You can have a family and appoint them to go with you to your appointments, to take notes for you, to help you with meals and all that good stuff. But know this, your family member will have an opinion. And they will voice that opinion a lot. One, they care about you. But 2, it's hard for family to stay impartial. You know, they kind of feel like this is, and it is their journey too. They're seeing you go through this. They're hurting just as much as you're hurting. You know, my husband was hurting just as much as I was hurting. But the benefits of having a family member is they know everything about you. They're a part of your life. Maybe they even live with you. Maybe they, you know, can cook for you. they can do dressing changes, whatever it is that you need. It's so amazing to be able to have a family member who is an advocate with you. But if family isn't it for you, these angels do exist. They're called professional care managers and care coordinators. So they're an impartial party that will work with you. You hire them. They are working for you. You know, they can coordinate your care, your home care, any nursing, meal delivery, rides, insurance. I mean, one of the worst things in my life is dealing with insurance. The amount of prior authorizations that I have to get is insane. And when we were first going through everything, Nathan and I literally had to do it all ourselves. And Nathan had to do it all himself. I bailed. I didn't do any of that. It's so overwhelming. And we all know insurance companies, they'll hit you with prior authorizations for things that were fine last year, but this year they're not going to approve, you know? So having somebody who has extensive knowledge in writing those prior auths or getting those prior auths and obtaining all of these insurance things that you need, because me, heart failure, my disease is forever. I am going to be a transplant patient forever. I'm going to have to go to the doctor and get, scans and MRIs and CTs and stress tests forever. My meds are going to continuously change. So there will become a point in my life where I'm just not strong enough to handle that anymore. I mean, that's kind of just the basics of life. I won't be able to handle it on my own anymore. They will be there when you need them, but they will not overstep their place in your life. So with a care manager or a care coordinator, you are able to call them and say, hey, I need some assistance with my doctor's appointment that's coming up next Wednesday. It's at this time. Can you be there? Yeah, I can be there. What do you want to go through? What do you want out of this appointment? Let's make it happen. for me, getting a care coordinator and getting a case manager or care manager, the best thing is your family gets to stay your family. You know, I'm very, like I said, I'm very, very blessed and lucky that I have the husband that I have, who is very boisterous and very, he's just full of knowledge. I don't know how to explain him. He's amazing. And he was able to figure all this out for me. But I know we all don't have Nathans. And so having someone in your corner, going back to what we said, you know, trusting yourself and advocating for yourself, is having that person in your corner. You need somebody. So these are the two here locally that I trust 100%. If this is anything that you are interested in, you know, integrative clinical and financial and guardianship and care management services, they're both here in Albuquerque, and I've worked with both of them and they're absolutely amazing. So if you ever do get to that point of needing someone to advocate for you and to work with you on your care, I would trust them with everything. So it does get better. This is me at my lowest. Hooked up to all those IVs, and I mean, there was a point there I was on 25 different pills 5 times a day. Yeah, I was down to I think 95 pounds or so. It was bad. You know, I was very, very sick, and I often, when I give these talks, not just about self-advocacy, but, you know, peripartum and heart transplants and even LVADs, I end the talk and think, oh my God, like how close I was to not making it on several occasions. It's a lot. The middle picture is actually the first time I saw my baby. I think it was about a month. So I was actually emergently implanted with an LVAD. And an LVAD is a left ventricular assist device. So basically what it was, it's an implant that is working for your left ventricle. So I was bionic for a while, you know, and it had a drive line that came out that attached to a battery pack, which I had to carry all the time. And I have a love-hate relationship with that device because, well, I hated it because it was an LVAD. It was something I didn't want. I never thought I would ever have to have something like that. I didn't get to sign off on getting it either. I was in a medical induced coma, and my family had to make that decision. My husband had to make that decision for me. Thank God he did, you know, and it did get me to transplant. So 8 months later, 6 months later, I was transplanted. So I was only on the heart transplant list for about 6 months, which is impressive. You know, if I didn't have the team that I had at UC San Diego, I don't know if I would have gotten that far. You know, I had a very, very strong unit of amazing doctors and advocates and case managers, and it was the amount of people that I had on my side. I was very lucky to be even able to get a heart. And that's us last year, celebrating Christmas. I mean, it gets so much better. It gets worse. It does. I can't lie and say, you know, it's easy peasy. I had a lot of hard days. I had a lot of hard moments in my life after transplant. I definitely went into a lot of deep depressions. Grief is something that we don't talk about when it comes to heart failure. We talk about grief when we're losing a loved one. We talk about grief when we're losing a pet. But we never grieve and talk about how it is to grieve the life you thought you would have. And I had to learn how to do that. I thought I was going to be, well, I move in mountains now, but I thought I was going to be doing a whole lot of different stuff in my life. You know, I thought the first year with my baby was going to be this magical experience. I didn't think that I was going to see her maybe, you know, every other week. I thought I was going to be able to nurse my baby, and I wasn't able to do that. So all these things that I didn't get to do because of heart failure, I am now still in the process of grieving the life that I thought I would have. Not to say I don't have an amazing life. I do. I have, you know, an amazing career, amazing husband, child. It's cool. I am good with my life, but it's okay that I'm still grieving what I thought it was going to be like, if that makes sense. So we can get into the whole mental health part of heart failure, but that's another talk for another day because it's deep and it's sad and it's hard to hear, but it is something that we do need to talk about. So, and that is Advocacy 101. Basically, speak up for yourself. If you can't, you know, there are avenues and options to get someone who can help you. I've given you a toolbox and kind of a couple ways of being able to talk to your provider and make it a little bit easier on you. Does anybody have any questions? I'm an open book and you can ask me anything.
I have a question, Amanda.
Sure.
You know what? I was kind of wondering what the expense is to get an outside advocate to support you. Was that something that insurance covered, or was that something your family had to be able to afford?
No, so care managers and care coordinators on the outside, I mean, they do have them available in the hospitals. They're care managers or social workers in the hospitals. But if you're going with an outside agency, it's usually an hourly rate. They're all different, but I know these two in particular have a sliding scale. Yeah, so it's always worth a call, and it's always worth the time to get to know what they can do for you, and you know what kind of hourly commitment they would need to make.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I got a question, Amanda.
Sure.
I just went through this lung thing and man, was it a hassle, and it's still a hassle. I have to go through all these tests and I spend all this time on the phone trying to set up appointments and everything. And I'm just getting worn down from it all, you know?
I understand.
So, I don't know what else to do. I'm getting depressed. And I don't have any
Yes.
advocacy, family or anything else.
Okay. I unfortunately understand too well. You come to a point in your healthcare journey where it becomes too much to handle. And you start to think, why am I even doing this? You kind of feel like you're going around in circles. And I'm assuming that's where you're at right now.
Yeah, I'm a self-advocate, but you know, I don't feel like I have anybody in my corner. I mean,
Yeah.
I just changed healthcare providers, and my former primary care isn't covered under my current insurance, so she's
Okay.
kind of written me off too. I've had her for over 10 years. So now
Can
she's
I, do you come here? Do you come here to?
yeah, I go to Vessel, yeah. I belong
Okay,
there.
I'm gonna write down some numbers for you.
Okay,
I have some ideas of who can help you.
okay, great, thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'll put my number 2 in your.
All right, thank you. So tell me a little bit about your background. Are you a healthcare person? Or?
I have a huge background. I don't even know anymore. So I actually started out my career in nursing, and I realized,
Nursing, all right, I love nurses, man.
so, well, I realized I don't care for people that much. I like to help people from afar.
Okay,
And nursing just wasn't it for me. I love nurses. They are absolutely amazing. I have some of the world's best.
yeah,
But my career took a shift. And I started working with our developmental disability community. I did a lot of healthcare education. I did a lot of disability education, which led me after transplant to do a lot of cardiovascular education. And actually, I don't do this as a career. This is my pastime, super fun pastime. But I'm actually in business development. So I come from the nonprofit world. I'm in business development now with Haven Behavioral Hospital. But I have developed nonprofits, some major ones, some small mom and pop nonprofits. I do fundraising, but I also design and run social media campaigns as well.
A little bit of everything. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I have a kitchen sink career.
Okay, well, thank you, Amanda, for your presentation. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I'm so glad you recovered.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Where did you get, you had to get a heart transplant, you said?
Yes, yeah. So I had my heart transplant at UC San Diego.
Oh, okay.
My parents live in San Diego. They live in Ocean Beach.
So what do you think about the heart care here in New Mexico?
Yeah. So it made it really, really simple. I mean, it wasn't a big celebratory move to San Diego. It really happened overnight. My husband and I had to uproot our entire life here. We lost our jobs. We left his entire family. And then afterwards, coming back, just trying to recover, and I became a whole new person. I ended up actually losing friends that couldn't really handle it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, isn't that something? You know, I had cancer 8 years ago, and it's like you think you have friends, but then I don't know, they stop contacting you, whether they're afraid or I don't know,
You know,
they can't handle it or whatever, you know, and that kind of hurts, you know.
it does. It hurts a lot. I lost my best friend. I was going through things personally, and
Yeah.
I thought it was one of those people in my life that was going to be around, forever.
Right.
And all of a sudden they weren't.
Yeah, not that you need them for anything, but just,
To be there.
Give me a call once in a while, you know.
and it was unfortunate, but looking on it now, we're just very, very different individuals, and
Yeah.
also lost family. Family members started dropping off. Family members started to remind us of all that they did for us. And then when you're so sick and you're recovering, I don't need to hear how much you've done for me. I ask you for your help.
Yeah, I tell my family.
So I
They don't wanna
understand.
hear it.
Yeah.
They don't want to know.
Well, thank you all
Thank you, Amanda.
much for coming. And Sally has my information, and I will write down everything for you.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all, and good luck to everybody.
All right.
I just want to say thank you, Denise and Sparky and everyone. I think I'm trying to see who's on, but I had a little difficulty seeing everybody. But with us, of course, Ashley and Lena are here. We're just really happy that that Amanda was here to be able to go through this with us. As painstaking as that can be, I think sometimes this is obviously something she's really, really super good at. And when we met, it was kind of under this type of an event, and this is actually her second time to come and speak with us. And I think it's just something that is always thought about, and we need it, but we don't always know how to get it and how to go about it. And she's so concise and has the experience, so it was really helpful. And I'm really happy to hear, Sparky, that it helps you to know some of these things. I know that Ashley and Lena both are like, there's a lot that we all just learned and we can share. And as Amanda said, so all of her contact information and anything else, I'll be sure and share that, Denise, so that you can share that with any of the attendees, everybody. And this is always ongoing. So anything you come up with and want to share and talk about, we'll make sure we get that to her, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so thank you all very, very much. I really appreciate you. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
See ya. Mañana, Denise.
See you later, Sparky.
Okay.
I fixed it.
Was it on there? But it wasn't showing up. And we did get a good, you know what? It didn't.